Welcome back. Glad that you are here. We are building a movie app with the best coding practices and tools. In this video, we'll introduce language options in the application. We are supporting two languages, English and Spanish. In future, number of languages can increase, so to properly provide a setup that can scale over the time, let's create language entity. In entities folder, create a new file language_entity.dart. Declare code as the final field. Code stores the language code en and es for now. Now declare value as another field. Value will store the English and Spanish text, which will be visible in the navigation drawer. Create the constructor with both fields as the required fields. Now declare a list of languages that you want to support. In constants folder, create a new file languages.dart. Declare a private constructor. Create an array of languages with two language entities. First being English. Second will be Spanish. In the previous video of navigation drawer, we have used direct language strings. Let's replace them with the entries in the language constants. Open navigation expanded list style. Use the map operator that would return a list of values in the language entity. Since map operator returns iterator, you need to use toList to convert it to a list. Now you have declared the locales. You need to tell Material app about those locales and also set a locale that the app will use at the launch. Open movieapp.dart and add the snippet in Material app. Supported locales takes in array as well, but array of codes. So this time instead of value, you will use the code, that is en and es. Assign the en locale that will be the language used at the start of the application. Open pubspec.yaml and add the Flutter localization dependency. Widgets in Flutter framework already has delegates that help in RTL support. So to provide that to all the widgets in the application, you can add Localizations Delegates in the Material app. As the name suggests, first one is for Material widgets and other one for any type of widget. Let's create language JSONs. We will declare all the strings used in the app in JSON files. As we are supporting two languages, we will add two JSON files in the assets folder. Create a languages folder under assets folder. Add two JSONs in languages folder, en.json and es.json. Now update pubspec.yaml with the new assets entry. Add the string that are there in the app till now, like the tab text, popular, coming now, coming soon and now, and the text in the navigation drawer like favorite movies, feedback, language, and about. In en.json, add the English text, and in es.json, add the Spanish text. I am showing you how to write in the en.json, and rest we will copy it from Google Translate. It is important to have same key in both the JSON files. Now create custom localizations delegate. As we added material localization delegate before in material app, we can also create a custom delegate to load our custom translated strings from en.json and es.json. In presentation folder, create a new file app_localizations.dart. First, create a class app_localizations. We will load translations based on locale, so add a locale final field. Declare a delegate that extends localizations delegate of type app localizations. Override the three methods and return false from shouldReload method. We will work on other methods in a moment. In app localizations, add a delegate field that contains instance of app localization delegate. Give it a const constructor. Now in movieapp.dart, in the delegates, add our custom delegate as well. You will get unimplemented exceptions as we are not completely done with loading specific translation for a specific locale. Come back to the delegate class, add body to other two overridden methods. Is supported. This is basically for safe checks that the locale that we are loading is supported by the application or not. So you will check whether the locale selected is in the list of our locales. Here, you will create instance of app localization with the selected locale. Then, you will load the JSON that you have created based on the language code. The load method will be created in just a moment. After successfully loading JSON map, you will return the localization. Now, create the load method in the app localizations. Declare a map of string as key and string as the value. This will hold the parsed JSON for en.json and es.json. Create the load method to return true or false. First thing in the method, you will load the JSON file from assets. You will load a dynamic JSON based on the locale.language code. Now decode the JSON to the map. Since convert library cannot guarantee the value type, we need to use toString method on the value. For that, use the map operator again and insert each value in the localized strings map. Now you have the map that has keys and values passed from en.json or es.json based on locale selected. Next thing would be to get a string by key from this map. So create a function to return the value based on the key. This is very straightforward. You are just taking out a value out of a key from a map. One last thing before we start using translated strings is way to get instance of the app localizations. So create a static auth method in app localizations. This is a concept which is being followed everywhere in the application in Flutter framework. Use the type of object. You can get the instance of app localizations from localizations. Now, use translations method in one of the places. Open navigation drawer.dart and update the favorite movies title. First, we get the instance of app localizations from the context. Then we pass key in the translate method. This will return favorite movies in English locale. Run the app now. Everything is same as previous. Now change the locale in material app to Spanish and run the app again. You can see the translated text for favorite movies as películas favoritas. Now let's add translation constants. If you see hard-coded string favorite movies used as a key, when you have many instances of this key, you will have to write it again and again. So it is better to put these in a constant file. In common constants folder, create a new file translationconstants.dart. Here we will store keys in a constant so that we can now use them when translating a text. Use these constants and app localizations everywhere in the project where you are using text. We will not use them for English and Spanish text as they will never change when locale changes. After you are done using translated strings, run the application. You will see when you change the default locale in material app, the text changes based on the locale. You have seen everywhere we use applocalizations.offContext.translate with a specific key. This is sort of a boilerplate. To reduce this, let's create a string extension. In extensions folder, there is a string extensions file. Add a new method to that file. Just create a method t that will replace the key in the translate method. Everything is same. The string on which the t method is called will get translated now. Now go on and update everywhere in the app where you used applocalizations.offContext.translate method. You will see the app is short now. Run the app and absolutely there will be no difference. We have now created a method that can be used anywhere in the application. Language block. You have seen every time I changed the locale in Material app to see the different translations. You cannot do that while you are running the application, so let's add a block to handle this for us. In Presentation Blocks folder, create a new block, Language block. Create event toggle language event. This is an event that extends language block event. This event will take language entity when we select a specific language from the navigation drawer. Give the code in the props array. Now move to the language block state. Delete the initial state as it is not required here. We will use the new state instead of the initial state in the block. Create a state language loaded. This state again extends the language block state. Now this time, based on the language code which is coming from event, we will generate a locale. So give a field of locale type. In props, add the code again. Now, in the language block, handle the toggle language event in the block. For now, use the language code coming from the event to create the state and yield that state. Also, you want to load a default language on block initialization when the app is initialized. So, update the super method of the block, pass in the language loaded state. Take the first language, that is English, encode, in our case, and create locale from it. By mistake, I have created language block instead of language. So kindly rename everything in event, state and block files. Register this block in getit.dart. You can make this block as a singleton because there will be only one entry for this block all throughout the application. Now in movieapp.dart, make the movie app a stateful widget. Declare the language block variable. In initState method, get the instance of language block from getItInstance. Don't forget to close the block in dispose method. Now wrap material app with block provider and block builder. Use block provider to provide the app with language block. Use block builder to read the language block down the tree. Now, if state is language loaded, you have the locale with you. Now build the material app only if you have language loaded state. When state is not language loaded, you can return a sized box. Instead of taking locale from one of the languages, take it from the state now. When the state changes, the locale will also change and will update all the strings in the application. Now, on tap of English or Spanish in the navigation drawer, we will have to dispatch the language toggle event. So, open navigation drawer.dart and in the navigation expanded list item, we can get the instance of language block from block provider, dispatch the toggle language event based on what index we get, we will take the language from the languages list. In navigation expanded list style.dart, call the onPressed method with the index. This will call the onPressed method, which was passed from navigation expanded list style, which nothing but it has a dispatching event call. Also, in previous video, I added gesture detector in navigation expanded list style because I clearly copied navigation list style and duplicated it. You have to remove that in case of expanded list style because we are handling tap of sublist tiles and not the main tile. Tap on main tile is already handled using expansion tile. Now run the application and play with it. You can switch between languages and check that our block is working. Whenever you select Spanish language, you get the Spanish text, and when you change it to English text, you will see our app is using English translations. One last thing I forgot to mention in the last video was we have to give a color to the unselected widget color in theme data, because expansion tile uses this color when it is in collapsed state. Without this, we are unable to see the collapsed arrow on the right hand side of the language tile. After adding this, run the application and you will see the down arrow animating to up arrow when expansion tile expands and vice versa. By this, we have added 2 languages that you can switch in the application. This was all about creating language management in the application. See you in the next part of the series. Thanks for watching. If this video helped you in learning something or other, then your like will help me a lot. I would love to hear back from you. If you are new to my channel, do subscribe and toggle on the notifications so that you never miss the future tutorials.